Hey, this is Dan from 7 Day Sonnet, and you're listening to an exclusive interview on Distortia.
Fall down in life, pouring rain, and call to me your name. We all fall down in life, pouring rain. Call to me your name, bring suffering.
We're here with Dan from 7 Day Sonnet. Got some questions for him, so we'll start right out. What's the hardest part about being a new band in the scene?
Man, well, it's competition. It's like I think it's hard working your way up through the local scene and,
right.
Competing with all those bands, and then all of a sudden you're in the national scene, you're competing with, Chevelle and,
Right.
Godsmack and, bands
Right.
like that. It's like, they've been doing it for 15 years and stuff.
It's got to be exciting too, though.
But it's really exciting to actually be in the same, start to play in the same league as them.
Count them as your peers.
Yeah. And even though it's technically competition,
Right.
there's always room for everyone to succeed, and you always hope the best for everyone, and you strive to, get to the level of those guys that you always listened to when you were young. Those guys have always been huge influences of ours since we were little kids. And just to all of a sudden be on tour with them, playing with them every night. That's a good feeling.
What's the feeling that's coming out of the work that you guys are writing right now? Because I know you guys are in the writing process. What's the emotion that you find you guys are kind of in right now, like when you guys are writing? I mean, is it darker? Is it happier?
Yeah, it's definitely darker. I think would be an accurate statement there. I guess a lot of the emotions reflected on this past year. I don't want to say it was a bad year, but like you said, it's a tough business. This was our first year, and there was some amazing things that happened, and there was also some things that didn't go, so well. There were some struggles, definitely some ups and downs this past year. It's about kind of fighting through adversity, to try to achieve our goals, and working as hard as we can. So I think, the overall emotion will be a little darker, on this next record, and, with some meaning, and I think it overall is going to be heavier.
Do you think that there'll be a bit of a more positive twist on the end of it, where, like you said, like you were just saying, like, you guys had some hardships, but you persevere, you push through. I mean, is that part of the writing process too? I mean, is that something you guys want to try and convey as well? Or?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I feel, even though at times when things were tough, we always found a way to fight through it, and the result was we ended up coming out of this year successful. I think for sure, but it's only because we were able to fight through those hardships, which any band, in the first year of trying to break into the national music business is going to face.
Right.
And a lot of bands probably don't prevail, and I definitely feel we fought through and did. So, like you said, hopefully we can try to portray some of that in the music as well.
Right. Well, because I've noticed that you guys have even when Ben's writing something it's got the darker or the downside in there. He does pepper it with like some bits of positivity, and I know that he's got a very good he's got a poetic heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah,
you know, I
he
see
does,
it.
yeah. And I'm not trying to put, make it sound like we're, all these,
Right.
like a bunch of depressed,
Right.
teenagers writing this dark, somber music, and that we don't like our lives. Or that's got nothing to do with it. It's just a tough year. We had to overcome a lot of adversity, just like any other band would this first year, and we did. So, we kind of turned a negative into a positive, like
Right.
you just said. And hopefully just keep climbing. I think we're just in general a kind of more of a fan of that darker style of music, just as an art form, and I think we're going to show that on this next record for the most part.
And speaking of perseverance, how do you feel about the success you guys have actually had so far? With 2 singles that have been in the top 40. And,
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look and step back at the year, it's definitely a successful first year. We made a lot of great relationships, met a lot of people that we never thought we'd meet. We were able to get some solid radio success for a new band and a new label. To have 2 charting singles is nothing to be taken lightly.
And with the DIY approach as well for how you guys you've come at with your EP and things like that. Rick explained to me that you guys did a lot of that stuff yourselves and working. You guys had help with Johnny K and stuff like that.
Right, for the singles, yeah.
Right, but having that DIY approach is and doing well with it at the same time. You guys have that's got a lot to say for what you guys have in talent.
Yeah, I mean, hey, no matter how much help you get, the more you do yourselves, the more,
Right.
the better off you're always going to be, no matter how much help you're getting from label or
Right.
management or whoever. And that EP was just kind of something we wanted to have on tour, with us to sell. We kind of took the approach of not doing the full length on the first year, just leading with the singles and then doing the full length the second year.
I think it worked for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, now it's good because now when we drop the album, we have a story to tell, not just a completely
Right.
new band that no one's ever heard of, and I think getting the 2 charting singles is definitely going to help us because now every program director in the country knows our name. So when we
Right.
go for the real push with the album,
They've already had a
the
passing
single,
familiarity.
They'll know,
yeah.
and I think it'll make the it'll make things a little bit easier, in 2012. So I think we built a solid platform for ourselves in 2011. To break in, and now gonna make the album, have the full product, and really do it right. So
Yeah, very good.
yeah. So
Any family influences when it comes to music?
no, actually, can't think of anyone in my family that played music. I think that was all me. It just kind of started, yeah.
How did you get into it? What was your?
I just was always tapping on stuff at an early age, and just felt I had natural talent. I could just feel it. So, I think my parents bought me one of those little toy kits when I was super young, and they could see I liked it, and then I kind of just kept always showing interest, and then I kind of begged them to start getting lessons, and I didn't beg, they just asked. I really wanted to, and they they were like, of course, yeah, so they got me lessons, and I just started and never looked back, really.
That leads me to my next question. I was going to ask if you had any actual training, professional training, or anything like that.
I did, yeah. All through, starting in middle school, I started taking private lessons with a teacher back on the East Coast where I grew up, and continued that throughout high school, and even in college, continued to take lessons. So, outside training is definitely something I always wanted to make sure to do to get the fundamentals and all that stuff intact. I definitely feel that, of course it doesn't hurt. Anything you learn from that training is you can bring to the table. Is obviously going to make things easier and more effective. I feel like a lot of stuff I learned in training, some of that stuff I've been able to bring to the band when we're working, and it's helped. But most of all, it's just been kind of benefiting my own playing and development of my own style. Well, all the fundamentals that I've learned from the teachers that I've had and stuff. So, it's just that ultimate development of that style that I've been able to bring to the table to the bands I've worked with, where I feel it's helped most of all.
What is the hardest song for you to play live?
Hardest song? That's a tough one. I mean, none of them are a walk in the park. Yeah, I guess on this last tour, I'd have to say maybe either I'll Fall Down or The Confrontation.
Okay.
Those two songs. Anything with a lot of footwork, is always going to be hard, no matter what. So
Right.
I got some double bass parts in The Confrontation, or some, you got to really concentrate to pull them off perfectly live.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of double bass work in All Fall Down and the choruses
Yeah.
and stuff, where you don't want to, play them sloppy. That's a good question, though. I mean, I usually practice all the songs. None of them are easy.
Yeah.
But I'd say those two are the hardest.
Yeah.
Up to
They're
date,
great.
but-
They're great songs
But
too. So.
those are going to be probably easy compared to the new stuff we're working on for this album. So
Yeah.
I'm really going to have to be on my game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard some of the programming for the drums, and
Yeah.
whoever's programming the drums ain't making it easy for you.
No, that's what I like. That's one of the things I like about this band is the constant challenge. That's something I've always strived for in anything I do is a challenge. Because that's the only way you can really make yourself get better. If you challenge yourself. And fortunately, the songwriters in this band, they write challenging parts. They challenge me, and so they force me to practice and learn them. And every time I do, it makes me a better player. So
Are you a songwriter yourself? I mean, do you help in the songwriting
I do,
process?
but I don't. I'm not usually the one that brings the song to the table. But once the initial idea is brought and we all start working on it, I feel like I have some good ideas. That I always can bring to the table with arrangements and maybe even some melodic stuff and definitely some rhythmic stuff too.
Yeah, I saw something. I'm trying to remember where, but it was a credit that you do programming as well. So.
Yeah, I mean that's just the backing tracks that we run live for our live show. I control all that back there. We all work on it. We write it and then we record it in the computer. So when it goes out live, and I just control it back there. Start the sessions and make sure everything's synced up with the song. And I got the click track that I'm playing to. So it's kind of like the computer is kind of like the sixth member of the band.
Right, right.
So,
That's what I like about the sound of this band is that it has that heavy element, but then you've got these other elements like bands like Evanescence and stuff like that use where you get used to the programming in the background. And it almost feels like you're layering these other elements in, and then of course like Ben's vocals are very. I think that they're very in tune with the younger generation. I think the kids today are more into that sound of his voice. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key thing. You've got a really great vocal, over top of really great hard music, and then on top of that you got you layer it with the programming, which is just great. This is what captured me when I saw you guys live. I was like,
well, that's great.
It's amazing. So
yeah.
and I like that element that you guys throw into it. So it's amazing.
We tried it. I mean, that's something that we like. I mean, we're not trying to break any ground. It's not like it's never been done before, but it's adding that extra melodic element. It's
the chemistry though that I think you guys have. Is what I'm saying. Is like when live, you guys have a really good feel. But not just that, but when you hear what you guys are doing on the tracks, it's like I said, I can hear the nice heavy edge of the music, but then I get what Ben brings to the table with his vocal, his vocal range. You can go into the growl, and then you can go into the singing, and it's just. And he's got the sound of the voice that the kids I know today they're just really into. So that's like it's good because it's like just a good mixture of the two.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see when you guys get thrown on these other tours. Coming in the summer and things like that, where you guys can really like expose that to some more people.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to see this the crowd start to come in and start seeing what you guys are all about, because I know what you guys are about. But
yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's like we've been fortunate enough to get in front of some solid crowds this year and get on some real good tours, and but definitely looking forward to a lot more because when you look back at it, it's like, all right, it's been good, but we barely scratched the surface.
Right.
We can't wait to get back out there on more tours after we get the album done. And
What's the thing about normal life that you were looking forward to the most when you were on tour?
sleeping in my own bed maybe. Eating a decent meal. Cooking myself a good meal. Getting back to, Chicago. I love Chicago. Great city. A lot of stuff to do. But ultimately, I like being out on the road since I started that. Sometimes you get back home and it's like, oh, what do I do now? But I try to keep busy,
Right.
with the stuff that I was doing before I left for the road. But, Chicago's definitely not a bad place to come home to. It's, nice to have a, warm house to come back. Nice
Right.
big bed,
Right.
So beats sleeping in a little cot in the
Right.
RV,
Right. Being cramped up. And the house doesn't leak.
Yeah.
Right. Like the RV.
Right, yeah, it's just getting kind of back in shape. Sometimes it's tough to stay in shape. I always like to stay in a good physical condition. Sometimes it's kind of tough on the road,
Right.
It's to find time to get exercise and stuff like that.
No,
so.
but you gotta eat shit food half the time. And
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Keeping in shape is very, very hard when you're out and about, and it's...
Yeah, and then just seeing
Right.
people, home that you never get to see, and, it's good.
Anybody that you want to say happy holidays to, you can go ahead and take your time to go ahead and tell them happy holidays. I did this for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, just my family, my mom, dad, and sister back home in Boston. Couldn't do this without their support, so, I think they know why, so, I'll just leave it at that. Can't thank you enough, and, hope to make you guys proud.